Douglas MacArthur brings us an inspirational quote today. And he says, there is no security in life, there is just opportunity. And I think over the last 5 or 10 years, this quote has become extremely important. And the reason being is that back in 2005, let's say, or earlier, I remember, let's go back even further. I remember growing up that people used to always say, get a good, secure job and you'll have a job for life. And the usual institutions were government jobs, government departments, or, for example, the banks or the post office or teaching, because these were guaranteed jobs for life. This was a job that you would get into and you would be there for life. You would know that that's it. And over the years that started to change. Trade unions resisted. Companies started getting a little bit wiser and they didn't want to give guaranteed jobs for life. And then back in 2007, 2008, we had the great crash. Previous to this, Ireland, where I'm from, was known as the Celtic Tiger. They were at the top of the tech industries. They had all the tech companies there, finances, everything was going perfect for the country. Everybody was in a real good mood and the banks were like lending money like crazy. And then something awful happened. The crash came. The financial crash, the European crash, and eventually a bit of a global crash came. And suddenly people lost security. Those bank jobs didn't appear again. Contracts were altered for existing employees if possible, and for new employees there was no fixed contracts, or they were hard to come by. And people felt a lack of security. They felt that what they had hoped for and what they had been told from early on in their life was now gone. There was no security. And I was one of those people. I had worked for the first probably 14 years of my working life. I had worked in 2 jobs. After I had graduated college. Previous to that, I had worked in a supermarket for 4 or 5 years during college. And it was secure. And just before the crash came, I went out on my own as a freelancer. And I was doing well. And I didn't really worry. Because even though I was freelancing, there was security in freelancing. There was so much work. But then I found that the work started to not necessarily dry up, but the work was getting more difficult to get paid by companies because people were being squeezed by their banks, and then the company I worked for was being squeezed by who they were contracting the work from, and eventually the person who didn't get paid was me. So it taught me a very valuable lesson. It taught me that there's nothing secure in life. But what there is, and what we have to do, is we have to look for opportunities to reinvent ourselves, to find other ways of building incomes, to find other ways of supplementing income by, creating new opportunities. So rather than say there was no security and this was a bad thing, it actually turned out to be quite a good thing. It was a struggle, of course, but rather than seek security, I sought out opportunities, and I still do. I think we must always look for opportunities. And what it did actually teach me was not to be lulled into a false sense of, this is it, I have this job, it's for life, and that's it. No. I realized I have this job, but it is not secure. And I've seen it in various companies that I've worked for over the last number of years, that companies will love you, companies will look after you, but unfortunately when they don't need you, they have no problems letting you go. So the companies are looking like this. The companies are looking at, there is no security, so I can ask somebody to move on, and there's always opportunity to take on somebody else, maybe at a lower salary. And that's fine, as long as everybody knows how the game is played, then we can progress in this game of life. So too many people are afraid of making changes, afraid of taking a chance because of the whole security element. But I think your thought or your reflection for today should be, well, what opportunities are available to me? I know security is not an option. I know security was, but is no longer an option in life, in working life. So what opportunities are now available to me? And go out and think about your life in that particular mindset, rather than one of searching for security. And you're going to find that there are opportunities out there. There are ways that you can have a more fulfilling life. I hope that has been interesting to you. I hope it's starting to make you think about what opportunities you could have in life. And I'll talk to you soon.